Hi, I'm Rachel, and welcome back to
Your worst nightmare.
Excuse me. I meant to say welcome back to Music Theory Bootcamp. Last week we learned about the staff, the musical alphabet, and the names of the different lines and spaces for the treble and bass clef. This week we're going to learn about the different concepts of rhythm. So, let the cure for music ignorance continue. Here we go.
Beat versus rhythm. Just like every living thing has a heartbeat that keeps them alive, music has a beat that keeps it alive. It is a steady pulse that continues through a piece of music that is consistent and keeps a piece of music together. The beat is what organizes the music so that musicians know exactly when to play which note. Whenever you listen to a piece of music and you begin to clap your hands or tap your feet, that is what is known as the beat of music. Rhythm is the grouping or pattern of notes that occurs around the beat in order to create what we know as music. In simple terms, the beat is the continuous pulse of a piece of music, while rhythm is a grouping or pattern of notes that occurs around the beat. If you are still confused, don't worry. We will give more examples about this later on in the video. For now, bear with me. Now let's talk about measures and bar lines. Before we begin to describe the specific rhythmic patterns, we must first know how to organize them onto a sheet of paper. Music is divided rhythmically on a piece of sheet music by a grouping of beats called measures. Measures contain a specific amount of beats and are separated by what is called a bar line. The bar line represents when one measure ends and another begins, or when one rhythmic grouping ends and another begins. Now you might have noticed that I have drawn a set of two lines, one thin and one bold, at the end of the set of measures. This is called a double bar line. The way a double bar line works is very similar to a stop sign. It tells the performer that the piece of music is now over and they can stop playing. Now let's discuss the time signature. The next musical notation that helps to organize the beat and rhythmic patterns is what is called a time signature. Before you even think it, no. The time signature does not tell you the time on the clock, and it is not Father Time's autograph. It is a notational symbol where it tells the musician which rhythmic patterns receives the beat, and how many beats that are in each measure. The top number of the time signature represents the number of beats that needs to be played in each measure, and the bottom number explains which note receives that beat. For now, we are just going to focus on the top number. Since the top number means the number of beats in each measure, then the number 4 means that each measure contains 4 beats. Now that we know how to organize the beat on a sheet of paper and which beat goes where, we now need to know about specific symbols that represent specific rhythmic patterns. Most rhythmic patterns are made up of a note head, a stem, and a flag or beam. Let's start with the most basic rhythmic symbol in music. It is so ground zero that it's actually shaped like a zero. Meet the whole note. A whole note is a note that is held for the amount of 4 beats and is made up of one singular note head. This means that because the time signature says that there are 4 beats in each measure, the whole note will be held for the entirety of each measure. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a whole note. The next note that you need to know is called a half note, which is made up of one note head and a stem. If we follow the rule of fractions, I know, math, ew, then the half note represents half of the held value of the whole note. This means that since the whole note is held for the count of 4 beats, that the half note is held for the count of 2 beats. So, this means that because the time signature says that 4 beats need to go into each measure, in order for the half note to fill the entire measure, we need to draw 2 half notes. You know, because 2 plus 2 equals 4. A genius is at work here, ladies and gentlemen. So you would count the notes 1, 2, 3, 4. Yay, math! The rhythmic symbol we will look at next is called a quarter note. A quarter note looks similar to the half note with one minor difference. If you notice how I drew the half note, you will notice that the note head has an empty center with a stem, while the quarter note has a note head that is completely filled in with a stem. This is how you not get them confused. Half note, empty center, quarter note, filled center. Now, if you have been noticing the pattern here, you will probably figure this one out. If a half note is called a half note because it is half of a whole note, then a quarter note is called a quarter note because it is the quarter of a whole note. So if we continue to follow the time signatures rule of 4 beats per measure, then we know that we need to have enough quarter notes to equal 4. Well, if a quarter note is 1/4 of a whole note, then we know we need 4 quarter notes to fill the entire measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. This means that since the quarter note plays on every beat, that the quarter note equals 1 beat of music. Remember what I said earlier about the bottom number of the time signature? If you notice, the bottom number is the number 4. This number 4 means the quarter note will receive the beat. How, you might ask? Let me explain. If we use the concept of math again and imagine the time signature as a fraction, then the bottom 4 means 1/4, or a quarter note. It's that simple. Now, if you have any trouble remembering which rhythmic symbol does what from this video, take a look at this diagram. It shows the division of the notes from the whole note all the way down to the quarter note. Keep in mind that just like the notes we discussed in this video, there are other notes that can get smaller and smaller potentially forever. However, those rhythmic values will be saved for another video because those concepts can get a little more complicated. And there you have it.
From the difference between beat and rhythm, measures and bar lines, time signature, and some of the most basic rhythmic notations, you should have a clearer understanding of how some of the most basic rhythmic concepts work. However, if you still are a little confused, please feel free to leave a comment below and I will answer any questions that you might have. Also, if you'd like to have any more notifications about upcoming videos, please feel free to like and subscribe to this video as well as ring the notification bell. See you next time. Bye!